The Jim and Terry Show still coming to you from the Hobbit Hole Studio in Bob Cajun. I'm one of your hosts, Terry, and with me is...
Jim the Samson, yeah.
We're both dressed in these salmony-colored tops. Salmony. Do you say salmon or salmon?
I'm going to call my band...
Do you say film
the
or
Salmons.
film?
I'm going to call my band the Salmons.
We're talking about Mehdi Hasan's recent Jubilee. I'll put a link in the description. Jubilee is a media corporation that's now really branching out onto YouTube and got millions of subscribers. And that is becoming a platform that is worth paying attention to, or is it? And I'm asking the question, is it? Because the most recent one with Mehdi Hasan, who is a progressive thinker, a journalist, he has got his own network. He used to be on MSNBC until he was too progressive for MSNBC because he was calling out the Trump administration. One of many, and that theme resonates. Mehdi Hasan was let go years ago, landed on his feet, created his own media corporation called Zateo. But that was an indicator, a harbinger of things to come with Stephen Colbert, for example, and others exiting. And we saw that remember when Fox was letting go, or the people were leaving Fox? And I said, that guy was a journalist and he's gone. There's less journalism. And I can't remember all the names, but that was in the first Trump administration. I said, Fox is losing their journalists and they've got more talking heads. Well, it's sort of going on in Zateo. Not Zateo, it's going on in Jubilee here. The claim was you gather 20 people and you vet them and you bring in somebody to debate them. Mehdi Hasan is a progressive debating young far-right conservatives. And I just played you some snippets of the kinds of thinking of Gen Z. And that's...
Well, the far-right Gen Z.
Far-right Gen Z.
So I don't know if we're in deep trouble if all the youth are thinking this way.
Let's look at far-right Gen Z and talk about the kinds of things that you heard in that Jubilee video.
You want me to? Well, jeepers. I mean, it was disgusting. I mean, number one, the host is brilliant.
Mehdi Hasan.
Yeah, I love the way he fired off all the amendments that on the Constitution that Trump has defied, all the Constitution, and then the one guy was opposed to the very first one, which is free speech. And then he said to him, well, do you believe in the second one? He goes, yeah. He says, so you believe in the Constitution. You just don't believe in the parts that you don't like. Yeah. That's right, he said. He was very honest about that.
Yes, he was.
And he said, so I believe they should be changed. He said, well, what about the other party? If they come in, can they just change them too? No, just us. We can only change them. That is a weird, scary frame of mind.
That's not democracy.
No, but that's why I think it's going to go to hell in a handbasket, Terry. There are these people out there. They had the 20 people around there applauding that one guy whose brain fell out his mouth. And they applauded him. Because he said that he's Native American because he's white.
White is Native American.
White is Native American. Like, I mean, you're not only not too bright, you're not educated. There's all kinds of things about that. But you are just on fire for what you believe. And that's why I'm very, very concerned about this mentality within the youth or with anybody, whether it be the Promise Keepers or whoever, where I can see it turning into a war because they defy law. They want to be the law. The one guy said he didn't want to be under the submission of police. And the guy, so you're anti-law. And he goes, no. And he was trying to explain how Trump has pardoned all these crooks and everything else, that he's pro-criminal. And let's face it, the truth of the matter is, if you've got any insight whatsoever, you know Trump is pro-criminal. So the country's in trouble, deep, deep trouble.
Okay, I'm going back to look at the Jubilee format, which is somebody sits at a table surrounded by 20 other people. They all carry flags, and you race to the seat opposite the guest, and you try to argue against the proposition. Mehdi Hasan made 4 propositions. We only saw, I think, glimpses of 2 of them. But the first one is that Trump is pro-criminal, pro-crime. And that was supposed to be debated. We got a little bit around the periphery with discussions of police, and the one fellow said he believed that the police were listening to the pro-liberal Democratic heads of state or the municipal government, and therefore the police were not reliable.
Yeah, I know.
thought,
So
what?
I don't even.
So
I don't think they even ask you what political leaning you're in when you have to become a
no,
police.
law is law. It transcends party affiliation.
Yeah.
It is the law for everybody. What you believe about it is irrelevant.
And you have a right to dislike it.
Yes, of course.
You can have a right to dislike the First Amendment being free speech. You have a right to not like that.
And you can
You do
change
not
it.
have a right to move it.
That's right. You have the ability to change.
Yeah.
So put it through the proper channels, which is
Yeah.
through the House, through the
Yeah.
Senate, and have it passed, and you can do an amendment. It's been about 50 years, I think, since
Not
the last
an
amendment.
executive order.
No,
not
you
an-
can't do
no-
it
no
by
an executive
you can't
order,
amend the
okay.
Constitution by an executive order. But it's funny that the one fellow we listened to was a Catholic, identified as a Catholic. So now we got this religious belief, and it links with authoritarianism. Well, you got a pope, the head of the church, then you got Trump, head of the government. Maybe there's a crossover here where people, and I'm not saying all people, but in this guy's case, his beliefs about Catholicism overlapped with his beliefs about Trump. More power. More power is good. Let him pronounce things. Let him lead the way he wants. The same way a pope would lead, I
Yeah, but
imagine.
it's funny. He's this out of the same mouth. If you say, so when Trump's voted out and there's a Democrat, can he lead that way? No. He was quick to say no.
Yeah.
No, only us.
Yeah.
Only us Native American white people
That's
can
right.
lead.
That's right, us Native American white people.
Boy, they
Well,
could take clips of this and ruin my life, eh?
Well, no, they're going to take clips of, and they have, that fellow that we saw, the Catholic fellow who's a fascist, who came out and admitted that he's a fascist.
Yeah.
He did lose his job. At least that's what I've read as a follow-up for this. So be careful what you say. Like, if you're really espousing this stuff, and they were vetted for this, and I don't know what the vetting process is. All I can say is I've listened to the whole episode. There are a lot of people saying a lot of different things, but they did share this in common. They are not in favor of the Constitution. They are not in favor of the law. They are not in favor of law enforcement, and they believe January 6th was an exception, and that Trump is okay doing what he's done, which is pardon 1,600 criminals.
Yeah, well, an exception. Yeah, an election was lost, and you didn't like losing that election, so you rallied the people to try to take the government. I mean, that's what the exception was. I mean, I'm amazed at how blind people can be with their own anger, their own hate, and their own doctrine. Like, quite frankly, where they've been indoctrinated into not being able to see with their own eyes.
Well, I told you that I have a circle of acquaintances in which that seems to be true. The allegation that it is the liberals and progressives who are the angry ones who are fomenting anger and fear. And I'm thinking, that's not what I read. If I hear a debate on MSNBC or CNN, and there's a GOP member of government and there's a Democrat, you can tell who's who right away by the language, by the tone, by the vitriol, the fear, the anger, the rage.
I have to agree with you. What can I say? As a conservative-leaning person, I have to agree with you. I can pick them out. I know that that's the Trumpite or the MAGA or the conservative at this particular point, but I don't even believe it's a conservative party anymore. So the MAGA party, I can tell which one is that. Lots of times, even 1/30th of a second into the talk.
Okay, so let's look at this one. The Mehdi Hasan debate, Jubilee, I'll put a link in the description. My question would be, is it worthwhile debating a fascist or a racist? Are we going to, and I'll link MAGA in there and say, can you, or a convoy person for a Canadian context,
No,
can you debate them?
No. And probably vice versa in their minds too. But no, you can't. We just saw that right there. You had a very calm, collective man asking direct questions to someone who does not want to hear it.
No.
And so I don't believe you can. If they're far right, you're never going to. This is why I don't get in arguments with it, or I try not to. I mean, I have people come around every now and then. that are very, very right-leaning, and they mimic, they parrot what they hear Trump say, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'll exit the conversation because I'm not wasting my time, because it got this weird, indoctrinated into a weird view of life, and it's just strange to me. So I won't argue it.
What you see, what you hear is not what's really happening, so says Trump, and his base has swallowed that hook, line, and sinker. They get their news from whatever sources they consult, but it's not the news that you and I consume, and it's not the narratives that we hear. It's not the analysis or the evidence that we follow. Where does it all go? Please don't tell me there's a sad ending to this story.
I've got a tear in my eye.
Jim and Terry Show signing off. Tears in our coffee. It's a song. Bye-bye for now.
The toil of my hand has got me so far into this promised land.